everyone, and welcome to New Trials, the podcast. I'm Preya.
And I'm Melanie.
The New Trials of Captor Sakura, Syaoran, and Friends is a popular, ongoing fanfic by Wishluv, and it's based off of Clamp's Captor Sakura. And in each episode, we'll do a deep dive of a new chapter. Let's get into it.
So, to bring up a discussion point that we brought up, I believe it was a couple chapters ago, and we discussed the school dance. We had wondered if there had ever been another school dance in New Trials history. So I posed the question to our Wish Chan New Trials Facebook site. Again, if you are not on the Facebook group, please do join, because that's where a big part of our discussions happen nowadays. But basically, I posed the question, have there been any other school dances besides the Winter Wonderland in Arc 1? And our lovely Mezel commented again, and she said, I don't think there was, because the next year, all they had was the winter field trip, and they hadn't had any high school as far as I remember. The closest might be the cultural festival bonfire. Haha.
Oh, that bonfire. I was like, come on, Sharon, ask Sakura to dance. And then she goes to dance with Aaron to spy on Tomoyo. Ah, I think they
Because
have one more year.
Tomoyo's dancing with Leon.
Ah, very good memory, Mezel. Very, very good.
Yes. As always, thank you for commenting. We always appreciate it when you guys do discussions with us. So thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. So here we are, the dreaded chapter 11. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
I tell you, I always liked Boys to Men, but then after I read this chapter, I could not listen to them the same ever again.
See, I don't know Boys to Men that well because they were like before my time. I'm more of the Backstreet Boy and Sing kind of girl. I feel that Boys to Men was like the New Kids of the Block 80s era. So I missed the boat on
Mm-hmm.
them, and I actually didn't watch the music video or listen to the song fully until today. And it's it's a it's definitely a sad song.
It is like I always thought it was sad before, but then now I can't even. I was going to also listen to it before this chapter, and I was like, no, I will just be just done for the rest of the day.
I think this is the first time that Wish Chen uses a song title as a name of the chapter. Mhm.
Yeah, because I don't think that happens again. I don't
Doesn't
think.
it chapter 15 is like Hang a Shining Star?
Oh, yes. You are correct. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And there is like a chapter called Like a Child, but and Backstreet Boys they do sing a song called Like a Child, but I don't think she named that chapter after a Backstreet Boys song. So before we dive into it, I have to ask, do you have any stories where you had to reject someone?
Oh God. Yes. um, let's see which one. I guess the biggest one is so in high school, I was friends with like a big group of guy friends, basically. I didn't really have a whole lot of friends. Um, there's a part of me I will discuss once we get to New York, but other girls tended not to like me because of that. So I had a really hard time connecting with girls my own age. The only real girlfriend that I had moved away my senior year. So then I just had my big group of guy friends. And I very much saw all of them pretty much as friends. I never really saw any of them past the friendship zone. And then there was this guy that was kind of good friends with one of them, if that makes sense. And I actually liked him and I ended up dating him for a little bit. Well, one of my guy friends, he was moving away. And so we were having this like big kind of like going away party for him. And I didn't think anything of it, but I invited the guy that I liked. This was before we started dating. I invited him because I was like, well, we're having this party and I want the guy I like to be there. So I ended up just hanging out with this other guy that I liked the whole night. And so then later on, the the guy was moving away, he came to me and he was like, he was so mad at me. And I couldn't understand why he was mad. And I was just like, why are you mad that I invited this other person? I don't understand. And he's like, but Melanie, I love you. And I had zero idea, like zero. And this whole scene is happening in the front of my house. It's summer, and so when my mom had the windows open, so here my mom is sleeping, and she hears this confession in the front yard. He's like screaming at me. He's like, "Melanie, I love you," and I had to be like, "What?" And then in front of all the other friends are still there because we all kind of carpool together, and I just had to be like, number one, you're moving away. Like he was really moving away. Like he was moving to like Nevada. And I was like, and I just don't see you like that. And
You
yeah,
sound like Sakura. It's like, hoey.
basically, I just didn't know. Like I had no idea he thought of me that way. I really didn't. And then all my other guy friends too were like, you were supposed to like, let's call him Chad. They're like, you were supposed to like be Chad's date for the evening. And I was like, no one communicated this with me. How was I supposed to know?
Wow, that's
About
very dramatic.
Sad to say I have a couple more, but we won't get into the rest.
Oh,
How
that's
about you?
great. Melanie, I love you. Oh, wow. I can't get over that. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. No, mine isn't that full scaled. So basically, in high school, I had this big crush on a guy, but it crashed and burned, and I was like just not interested in dating anyone. So then college comes, and I'm friends with a guy, and I have a feeling that he's into me, but I was like just not in the headspace of being in any kind of relationship. So it's like I low key told him, oh, not even low key, I just pretty much told him like the whole way that I had my heart broken and I was not interested without calling him out in any way. So what happens is that we're in class and he writes this really long letter. And it's a love letter, and he gives it to me, and I read it, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is exactly what I don't want." And then I had
Oh,
to like right underneath, it's like, "No, I don't have these special feelings for you." Like, I don't know if I'm quoting Syaoran at this point, or, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm misremembering, and if he's like, it's like I have feelings for you, and I had to say, "No, I don't have feelings for you." It was quite mortifying. I think the worst part is that one of my best friends, she heard that he was going to ask me out and she didn't tell me because she wanted to keep it as a surprise.
oh, girl.
And I'm like, no, that's not what you do.
That's not girl code.
She's like, oh, I thought it was really sweet and I thought it was going to be a surprise. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And I was not welcomed and it was very awkward.
Oh no. I love how I was the Sakura in this scenario and you were the Syaoran.
Pretty much. I had to shut that down. Um, okay, so let's talk about the chapter. So, chapter 11 was released in the summer of 2000. It's 4,268 words, so slightly shorter than the previous chapter. And in the timeline, the gang are in the eighth grade, and it's December. And we're December too, so that's a nice coincidence. Except for them, it's going to be December until chapter 19. So they're going to have a long December ahead of them. Now it's time for the summary. The eighth grade class were on a field trip to the ice rink, and Chiharu got Takashi to ask her to the Winter Wonderland. Tension rose between Sakura and Syaoran when they became rivals on the rink, which confused her about his feelings for her. When Erika asked Sakura what was her relationship with Syaoran, she said they were classmates. Erika then told Sakura that since there was no problem, she would ask him to the dance. Back home, Sakura confided in Kiro-chan that her feelings for Syaoran were now empty and wistful. Syaoran met Sakura in the park, under the pretense of giving her music book back. He mentioned that where they were was the place that he told her that he had, quote, special feelings, unquote, for her, and how silly he had been. He told her bluntly that he no longer had those feelings for her and took his leave. While she kept a brave face, Sakura was so stunned that it took Tuya to come out to bring her back home. When Sakura asked her brother for advice, he assumed she was referring to his past relationship with Mizuki Kaho, and though he terrorized her at first, he then opened up when he thought she was sleeping, but she wasn't. Okay,
Oh
well, we start
man.
with some skating hijinks. I love the Takashi and Chiharu banter, and the image of him going down on one knee and asking her to dance, very romantic. But the fact that he fell over is so Takashi of him.
I've said it before, but anytime I have a scene with them together, I know how much you love them. So I really try to just give it my all when I do those scenes in the audiobook. But they're so
They're
cute.
they're very cute, and it's like a little comic relief before getting to the heartache.
Yes. And I actually love figure skating. It's one of my favorite things, even though I cannot ice skate, as we talked about last episode. But like the Winter Olympics, it's pretty much all I watch all the time is figure skating. I love it.
When Aaron was inviting Sakura to skate, I wonder if he felt bad for the trauma that he put her through in the previous chapter.
I would hope so.
Uh, and then it was really cute when Tomoyo was cheering on Sakura, even though like I think it was Naoko was like, she's on the other team.
Uh-huh. I also like that we kind of got a rival scene between them again. That's
Yes.
very much, calling back to the original CCS, especially like the baton race and stuff like that. So I really love that scene a lot.
But like speaking of racing, how do you go from barely managing to keep your balance to like being in a full-fledged like relay race? It's like I could never.
Nope, I would have feigned injuries. Like, I need to sit this one out.
Oh, I twisted my ankle. Yes, that's it. That's it. So, if you were Sakura and Erica asked you what was your relationship with Aaron, how would you answer that question? Not Aaron, but Sharon. How would you answer that question?
you know, I do not like confrontation. And so I feel like I really would have been very similar to Sakura, honestly. I probably would have just tried just to play it off as a funny and be like, yeah, we're like close, but we don't have any special, I feel like I probably would have done it very similar to Sakura, although I'm mostly just because of the conflict thing more than anything. How about you?
Um, let's see. I think I would probably just go as far as because like Sakura doesn't even say that they're friends, and I think that's the part that made me sad because it's like everything they
Yeah.
went through, it's like they're still friends. And she just
Mm-hmm.
says, "Oh, he's my classmate," but I'm like, "No, he's your friend."
Yeah, that's a very true statement. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like she could have just said something along the lines of like, we're just friends. We only think of each other as friends, or something like that. But the way she put it was pretty cold.
Like I was wondering why Erica and Sharon ended up going to the Winter Wonderland together. So I'm glad that this chapter made it clear that she was the one who asked him, because it would have broken my heart. Or it's like, okay, Sakura, I have no special feelings with you. Hey, Erica, let's go to the dance. It's like, how cruel can you
Yeah,
be?
yeah, yeah. That would have just been the nail in our coffin. And to kind of divert a little bit, So it's around this chapter where I finally figured out how I wanted Eureka to sound like, and how I've kind of like did her voice was I kind of pictured like pretty much every mean girl I've ever known in my whole life. And so I kind of like made that, she has like a very smooth voice and how she talks, and it's almost kind of snotty. I'm not doing it very well right now, but like, so that's kind of how I felt like on this chapter, I finally got like a foothold of how I wanted her to sound like.
Yeah, that totally came across. So we've arrived to the scene where Sakura is waiting for Syaoran. What were you humming in the audiobook?
So it's actually the song because Sakura is scenes. It's too hard to say goodbye to yesterday, but I'm scared to actually sing it because I don't want us to get deemed. And so I was like, well, I think I can hum it at least. And so I sort of hummed it.
Okay, because
But I
I
was
didn't. Okay, because I didn't fully listen to the song itself until after I finished reading the chapter, so that's why I didn't recognize it. But now I want to go back and I want to hear you hum. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
It was, yeah, I guess I spent forever. Like, I really sat there at my recording and I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And finally, I was just like, I can't do the lyrics because even though I guess it'd be considered a cover,
Hmm.
I still think we would get deemed for it at some point. So I was like, well, I'll just hum it and we'll just see what happens.
I think we're going to be able to fly under the radar.
I would think so, but you never know. So
Yes, yes, YouTube overlords.
YouTube is very crafty, like especially like I mean, not that we're big creators or anything, but even if the big creators so much as say words that are even kind of similar to a song, they'll get copyright striked like almost immediately. So just to be safe, I was like, well, I won't do the lyrics.
That's a good way to get around it. So
Mm-hmm.
Sharon, he was so cold during that conversation. The way that he was like just making fun of their past, that was so mean.
Well, the fact they don't even like face each other either. They both just kind of look away from each other. So they can't even see each other's faces as I mean, he can't see her face as he's telling her these awful things.
That's
It's just
deliberate.
heartbreaking. I almost wonder if he would have broke, if he would have been able to see her expression. Like I wonder if he would have been like, this is a really bad idea. This isn't how I really feel, if he would have like changed his mind or something.
Sakura's his weakness. He would have definitely broke.
I like to think so. Like in my head, I have a little canon of like, even though, and this is probably just me coming from Korean drama land, but like, even though he's saying these mean things, like his face is just like a mask of like just a broken man as he's saying it.
Ah, yeah, the I don't have special feelings for you conversations. Always a punch in the stomach. But I did like the way that you
Mm.
underlaid it with that lonely piano music.
Yeah, I debated on that. And actually the first time I recorded that, I didn't put it in. But then the second time I listened to it, I was like, this is such a pivotal scene in New Trials. And I was like, I just want to make it as cinematic as I possibly can. And so I was hoping it wouldn't take away from the scene, but add to it was my hope.
Oh no, definitely did add to it because it's like it's not something that we've had before in the recording, and it really like aside like yeah, we had music with the melody of loneliness, but that was like a music centric chapter. But the fact that there's just
Mm-hmm.
dialogue with the piano underneath it, no, it really enhanced the scene.
Good, good, good. I'm happy.
Mm.
Good, good, good.
Mhm. I wonder how long
And then
Sakura
she
would have.
just stands there.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder how long she would have stayed there if Tuya didn't come and get her. Ah.
And And she gives him the biggest hug. And like that, out of the whole chapter, it's that hug she gives her brother that just makes me cry. Like every time, that part just really gets to me. And I think it's because I have an older brother and he's significantly older than I am. Like my older brother is 15 years older than I am. And so like I kind of picture me as Sakura in that scene, just giving my big brother a hug, and it just kills me every time.
Yeah, I'm glad that this chapter did give us some solid Kinomoto sibling scenes because especially as new
Yes.
trials progress, we're not going to see that as much.
Speaking of sibling scenes, if we want to move on to the next one, but I must say, I absolutely love what Wish Chan does here. I feel like the trope I feel like most authors would do in this case scenario is they would make Sakura be so depressed. The next couple chapters, she'd be really sad, or she'd be like really kind of mean towards Syaoran, and have this be this whole dramatic arc. But instead, she ends it on like the sweetest, lightest note of her just having this moment with her brother and her brother opening his heart to her and helping her heal. So that way, when we get to the next chapter, like, yes, she's still hurting, but it's not this like whole like dramatic thing that I think most people would do with this type of scene.
Oh, yes, I totally agree. And I think it's really important that because it's like, yeah, sure, Tomoyo's her best friend, but Tomoyo's never been through heartache. Well, not the like yes it's better to like have your love happy than have love yourself, but Toya is real it's a lot closer to what Sakura went through, and to have him as a figure in this point of her life, and just to tell his own stories, definitely you could tell it helped with Sakura and her healing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's just such a thing as just I know like in some of the saddest moments of my life, I've turned to my brothers and they've really helped me. And I just think there's just a beauty of just being able just to go to your siblings and even though like your significant other knows a lot about you, but no one knows a lot about you as your siblings do. Like your siblings have seen you through everything in your life, and I just think it's such a beautiful scene.
Yeah, for sure. No, Tuya talking about Kaho, it makes me think of this really amazing CCS prequel fic. It's the author is Peace Wish, and it's called Scattered Blossoms. And basically, it's the relationship when he was a student and she was like the teacher. So I'm gonna post the link in the group. It's Peace Wish is it's like a stickler to canon, like Wish Chen. So if you like Wish Chen's writing, you're going to enjoy Peace Wish too. Mhm.
Priya is a stickler for canon, so you know it's a good one.
That I am. Do you have anything else to say about the chapter?
I do not.
Mm. So in Dark Force's corner, there's no card, but in this chapter, Erica actually enchants I don't know if it's Sharon and Sakura skates, but to make them slippery. And does this continue in new trials? Like just Dark One's magic here and there, or do you think Wish Chen lets that go?
Well, the best couple contest, something happens to their castle, right?
Mm.
There's that. And then also in the best couple contest, like there's other things that kind of happen to them there.
Okay, so it
And
sounds like
then,
it's when mischief is involved. That's when
uh-huh,
this like power is going to sprout up.
uh-huh. And then I think later on in like the arc 4 era, once we get to there, like she accidentally releases the yokai in the theater, I believe that's her doing or something like that. So
Oh
yeah,
yes.
I think here and there it sort of happens.
Hmm. So for the fan art spotlight, I'm gonna feature "So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday" by Mezel. she actually posted this fan art in December 2020, and it's the scene where Syaoran is walking away from Sakura. They're back to back at the park, and what I find really interesting about this piece is just how the winter and the the barren trees and the fact that she didn't do like that detail, too many details on Sharon and Sakura's face. It just adds like a coldness to this picture that we get in the chapter from the scene. So she did a fantastic job of just of taking all the emptiness that we're feeling from the chapter and just putting it in this fan art. So I can't wait to share that with the group.
Oh, it's so good. Like I'm just getting teary-eyed just looking at it. Like Mezel, oh my God. It's so good.
Okay, we can move on to author's notes.
Okay. So there's a quick one at the top I wanted to read because I just think it's funny. But she says, it'll be a long winter, maybe full of hurt and confusion for Sakura. It may be time to say goodbye to all the past sunshines, yet the winter will be over when the spring comes once more. And then she does a little face. So it's like she's putting a Band-Aid on before she rips it off. Okay, then the official one says, Wish Chan. Does anyone know the song It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday by Boys to Men? It's such a good, meaningful song with great lyrics and tune. Don't get too depressed by this chapter, SNS fans. Wink, I believe in sunshine after the rain. Hint, hint. I shouldn't be telling this, but more SNS-ness will come after the long winter is over. Thanks to everyone who emailed me. It's really encouraging. I really appreciate it. Happy face. I usually reply to most emails and questions, though I'm so scatterbrained and busy sometimes. By the way, no, I'm not getting revenge on Sakura for being so blind about Shaoran-kun's feelings for her. Shaoran, hey! And no, Shaoran's not going to turn into a major beep, 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 beep. Don't get too depressed by this chapter. Oh yeah, and I believe in foreshadowing, predicting the future. Every detail counts.
Wish Chen. She's like, guys, I really appreciate your emails and your love, but don't hate me. Just try to write a story.
So one thing I wanted to bring up is, so this chapter, it's called It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday. Then there is a chapter that comes up later, which I believe is, let me find it real quick. It must rain for there to be a rainbow, right? That's like the end of arc 2. And in lyrics of this song, at the very end, it says, I'll take with me the memories to be my sunshine after the rain. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. And it's about that same point in arc 2 where Syaoran just finally is like, I'm being stupid. I just need to follow my heart, right?
Yes. When I was listening to the song after listening to your audio chapter, I was like, oh my gosh, sunshine and rain. It's like that's where like Wish Chen sort of takes it from, even though hers is like their rainbow. But I definitely picked up on that as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep, and then the whole believe in me when the sun rises also kind of becomes a thing too, and
yes. Oh, I know that smile. I know what's coming up. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun times after this winter thaws out.
Yes, yes. At least the next couple chapters. I think we're over like this kind of depressing point, so at least now it's just kind of like up from here.
Oh yeah. We've got Christmas coming up and then New York. Oh, lots of stuff, lots of fun things to anticipate for the rest of arc 1.
Yes.
I think that pretty much wraps it up. What do you think?
I think so.
You have been listening to New Trials, the podcast, where it must rain for there to be a rainbow.
You've been listening to New Trials, the podcast. Please be sure to check out our audiobook version of this fan fiction that you can find anywhere you can find this podcast. Also, please be sure to check out the original fan fiction written by Wishluv that you can find on her website, wishluv.com/newtrials, or on fanfiction under the New Trials of Captor Sakura. Also, be sure to check out the Facebook fan page for new trials, where a big part of our discussions happen nowadays. Also, please be sure to send us any discussion questions you might have to ntthepod@gmail.com. And please be sure to stick around next week when Preya and I discuss Chapter 12, Till You Turn to Me.